Hump Day, new month. Thomas Miller on the Fun Astrology Podcast. Hi, everybody. November 1st. Thank you so much for stopping in here. We're going to take a look at a couple of things in the chart today. We only have one thing as far as kind of the honeycomb collective list goes. That's the moon moving into Cancer. That happens tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, but not before a nearly 9-hour void of course that begins at 8:30 this morning. Obviously, convert that to wherever on the planet you are, and you'll have the times, but it is a long void of course coming into this Cancer moon. That will be with us tomorrow and into all the way to early Saturday morning. So we have the Cancer moon Thursday and Friday. Really good time to tune in internally. I think right now is just a heightened time for inspirations of all kinds, just because of the history of it and the intention of it. Yesterday was a very energetic day. There's lots of ancestral energy around Hallows Eve. We're starting to separate now nicely from the eclipse energy, and that's reflected in today's chart. But I just want to emphasize again, the lunar connection right now is really important, really strong. So take advantage of the moon in Cancer all by itself. Friday night, late, 11:30 Eastern p.m., it will oppose Pluto in Capricorn. But that's not until Friday night. And these lunar aspects are quick in, quick out. Now, there's a distinction between today's chart and the charts that we had been seeing since the eclipse on Saturday. And that is a lot more aspects, including 1, 2, 3, 4 quincunxes. No yods, but a lot of that tense in-conjunct / quincunx energy. And one of those is from the Scorpio planets, the Sun, Mars, and Mercury, down to Chiron. So there's going to be some triggering potential in the chart, and these quincunxes are with us for all the way through at least the next week. Let's don't look out past that. But just know that for the next week, this quincunx energy, it shifts around every day, but it's in there for the next week plus. I'll mention one other here because it could be a trigger kind of thing. Last night and into this morning, the moon is in a quincunx with Pluto. That's separating because the moon is moving toward that county line with Cancer. But it could be a trigger because we have the established squares between Pluto and the nodes of the moon. Those are pretty much set for a while. But something comes along like the moon in a tripwire with Pluto, and you could have some explosive kind of reactions around that. And it's just triggering old stuff. So, the thing is game plan this where you say, okay, there are 4 quincunxes in the chart, a little bit of tension. I mean, the moon is really actually kind of a kingpin of this. It's square to Venus. It's square to Neptune, both separating. So the energy is fading. But just realize if there is something there, count to about 20 because it's not worth messing with. Don't count to 5. Count to 20, 25, 30. Put a lot of space between you and the reaction. And realize that whatever it is that is triggering is something that we need to sit down with our journal and go inside. Don't be pointing the finger, oh, it's about them, or it's, oh, about this situation. It's something unresolved with you that wants to be resolved. It's just holding its little hand up saying, here, if I show you what this is, will you work on it with me? And this is very powerful releasing energy as well. So once you identify it, find out where it came from, find out what triggers it, then you can just let it go. Let it slowly just fade away, just like the separating aspect. It gets farther and farther and farther in the distance, and pretty soon you can't see it anymore. Like driving away from mountains, right? They get smaller and smaller and farther away. In my opinion, one of the saddest sights in the world. Always, as a kid, we would drive back to Tulsa from the Colorado Rockies, and I would sit in the back window and look at them get smaller. I'm like, whoa. Well, see, let your stuff be like that. Just let it fade out. Realize I don't have to be triggered by that kind of thing anymore. Now, a couple of things I wanted to mention. Kate over at Profit with the Planets, she does financial astrology. I've mentioned her a number of times here before. Totally believe and endorse her work. She's on Twitter, Profit from the Planets. She was mentioning that this post-eclipse energy is a really good time to start something. And she said, especially after this weekend. Well, I'll tell you, I found something yesterday that made a lot of sense related to that. This goes back to Monday, birthday day. I took a look at the parallels in the chart, and that's basically declinations, which of course is latitude north and south. Well, Jupiter was in a parallel to the sun, meaning it was in a declination aspect, which is read or interpreted like a conjunction. And that peaked Monday morning. Well, there's your energy to start something. I'm starting this new publishing business that we're going to get off the ground here in a couple of weeks, at least probably before that. But there is that peak energy. So yes, we're going to have our eye on that as well. Interestingly, on the same day, Saturn was contra-parallel to the sun, so both could be read as conjunctions. So here is something that is started that could last a long time if it's built well. And also, you kind of have to think about this. I know some of you are ending and completing things in various areas. That could also mean with Saturn contra-parallel, or in other words, let's just say a mini conjunction, that if you are on your highest timeline, that separation, that death, if you will, of that whatever it was, job, relationship, etc., might be for your karmic best. That's a favorable aspect, so think of it positively. And I know that might be hard to do, especially if it was something that you were resisting or didn't want. Let go from a job, relationship ending that you didn't want to end, etc. Just hold on, because Saturn might have something in store that's beneficial. Why? Because at the same time, Jupiter was in that same aspect. So let the benefic be the benefic, all right? Oh, this is a great time. What an amazing time to be alive. And at the same time, we need to every day pray for peace and safety for this planet, because it is a tinderbox as well. So let's just think about that right now on the way out. I'm going to tail the music out a little bit slower, and let's just think for those war-torn areas that are not in any kind of harmony right now. Let's just give our thoughts there for a second of peace and love. And I'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks for listening today.